and I crossed with my then boyfriend the street, and I was just breaking down in the middle of a very high road. I just couldn't move my legs suddenly. It was really sudden. And he pulled me from the street on the other side, and after a couple of seconds, my legs started working. And I thought at the beginning it's maybe the bed we slept in, because it was a little bit, different for me, and maybe it was a nerve. So I just brushed it off. But the symptoms started progressing and more showed up. I couldn't move my hands suddenly. I suddenly forgot even the name of my son, my own name. People do describe it as brain fog often, but it was different. It's like somebody's really putting something in your head and you can't even see. It's just something, it's really hard to explain if you didn't experience that. Then suddenly my hands didn't have the sensitivity. So hot was cold, cold was hot. And I got constant burns from the water because the temperature, I didn't feel it. And then suddenly you see the redness on the skin. But yeah, it was really getting awful. And at some point, I just couldn't move at all. I would have needed a stick, and we ordered the wheelchair because the doctors also said, it's done, it's over, you're not getting better.
Hi, everyone. Adam with Carnivore today. And today we have an awesome guest, Ivy Wulf. So, Ivy, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Adam.
Awesome. So, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ivy Wulf. I'm 35 years old. I'm a single mom for an 11-year-old little guy. And I work in IT. So I'm a very nerdy person usually. And my battle is that I have MS, and I have a very bad version of the MS, unfortunately. And that's what I'm struggling with since 2019. And that's what brought me in the first place to Carnivore, and also a little of a YouTube a place to share my journey and to find people that are mindset like I am, because I live in Austria. I was born in Bosnia, and the Austrian people are all vegan and vegetarian or vegan. So I'm very rare here, and I don't have any kind of contact to people that do eat meat or appreciate even meat. They are scared of meat. So my situation is tough to explain this to people even a little bit more, because they are very oriented in this save the animals and planet and these kind of things, which is also a good thing. But for me, then it's more tough to find friends as well, or people who will join and understand my personal journey or why I am doing it in the first place.
Wow, that's got to be tough, surrounded by vegans.
Yeah. The worst thing is I was a vegan. I tried veganism before. Because of my healing journey, I tried everything. So veganism was a part of it. For me, it was never about the animal part or environment to be vegan. It was about taste, actually, because I do enjoyed the taste of vegan food the most, and I hated meat, which is like ridiculous considering now I'm a carnivore. But I really hated meat, and I couldn't cook meat at all. I went to a cooking school as well for, when I did my, I don't know how it's called in America, like high school degree. There you have to cook. And I wasn't able to cook meat. I always, little cheated and gave it to my friend. She was cooking as soon as the teacher was coming. I just pretended to cook the meat, to not fail my classes. So that's how my, meat part was going. So yeah, it's completely different.
Wow, wow. So, how long were you vegan?
For 4 years. It was like 4 years vegan, and I was 10 years vegetarian when I was a kid before. Because in school, they show you, especially in Austria, I don't know how it is in America and other countries, but in Austria, when you're going to school and you're about 11, 12, they're showing you some kind of videos, which are also now with my son, they showed the same videos like before. It's about the mass produces meat and how they suffer the animals. And they are teaching them that the meat is bad and you are part of this suffering of these animals if you eat meat. And my son last time came home and told me about it. And I went home when I was a child and I said, I'm going to be a vegetarian because I don't want to, the little animals to suffer because I am eating them. I can eat something else, mommy. And that's a little bit of concerning, actually, global, if this happens also in other countries, that they don't show the good parts of meat, the farmers and how they love the animals and how, it's not only mass produced shit out there. There is also the good part and the cool farmers and the good stuff around all of that and the people. And that's a little bit they don't show that actually. So that's a
Wow.
pity.
So you actually started veganism for ethical reasons then?
Not really. It was about the taste. Vegetarian, I was for ethical reason when I was a child, just because
Okay.
poor animals. But as soon as I got into the high school and we had these cooking classes, I don't. At the time, I was about 15, 16, and I didn't know anymore why I started being vegetarian, like in the first place, or I avoided meat. So then at that time, I just started eating, meat and these kind of things as well. But I never really enjoyed it. I was never really like, I love meat or something. I was always like, I love fries. I love the bad stuff. I didn't love like the good things. I love the bad, the bad vegan food as well, much more, or just fruits and salads. I love salads.
Wow. Okay. So when did you first notice issues with your health? Was it when you were younger, eating vegetarian and going into vegan, or
From health wise, I always, since I started being like vegan, it was getting worse, but I always had problems with my stomach, which were getting really bad. A kind of bad where you just don't want to go outside because you're gonna have stinky farts. Let's
right?
be about that. So it was bad. It was really bad. And being constantly bloated and in pain and just also my skin was very bad and like the overall situation was bad. But the MS started I don't know for what reason, because with MS you don't know what the reason is in the first place. But there are many theories about it. It's the Epstein-Barr virus, or it's food for some people, it's stress for some doctors. So there are various theories around what is causing it in the first place. But for me, 2019, I just crossed the street. We have been on holiday like for 2 days in a city in Vienna. And I crossed with my then boyfriend the street, and I was just breaking down in the middle of a very high road. I just couldn't move my legs suddenly. It was really sudden. And he pulled me from the street on the other side. And after a couple of seconds, my legs started working. And I thought at the beginning it's maybe the bed we slept in because it was a little bit, different for me and maybe it was a nerve. So I just brushed it off. But the symptoms started progressing and more showed up. I couldn't move my hands suddenly. I suddenly forgot even the name of my son, my own name. It was like my brain, people do describe it this brain fog often, but it was different. It's like somebody's really putting something in your head and you can't even see. It's just something, it's really hard to explain if you didn't experience that. Then I suddenly my hands didn't have the sensitivity. So hot was cold, cold was hot, and I got constant burns from the water because I couldn't, the temperature, I didn't feel it. And then suddenly you see the redness on the skin. I just couldn't feel it. I actually, that was the funny part, because I got tattoos at this area. I couldn't feel my skin, so that was a good part. I got
Yeah,
that
that's
from
good.
it. But yeah, see it positive. But yeah, it was really getting awful. And at some point, I just couldn't move at all. I would have needed a stick, and we ordered the wheelchair because the doctors also said it's done, it's over, it's you're not getting better. So that was how it started.
Wow.
Yeah, that was shitty.
Okay. So once that happened, what was the first thing that went through your mind? And then, as far as treatment, what did you pursue at that point?
That was the biggest pain in the ass because I think that every person who suffers from whatever makes the same experience when they go to try to find help, that they've been ignored or mistreated, or people telling them they're crazy, especially when you have something like I did, which you can't see. It's not a broken leg. You cannot see what's wrong with me. And they
Hmm.
started treating me like I'm a crazy person. They wanted to put me in a crazy hospital because they saw you're just imagining that. It's stress. I said, I'm not stressed. Fuck off. It's not something you can imagine. I feel like a snake is crawling through my legs. What the hell is that? It's not normal. Something's wrong. And it's very specific. And I started having like a big journey for searching the right people. And I was just one of the lucky ones because at the time, I was doing a little bit music with a friend and I holded the guitar and the guitar dropped suddenly when my hands stopped working and they were cramping. And he was looking at me. So he said, what is wrong with you? And I said, I don't know. I went now to so many doctors. They are just saying I'm crazy, but you see that I can't move my head. And he said, you know what? I'm dating a eye surgeon. It's maybe not about eyes, but maybe she can help you with some advice. And I say, whatever, I call her, please. So I was one of the lucky ones because she was then totally invested in helping me and said, you know what? You're going to go to this doctor and you're going to tell them to check this, 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 this. And then you go further from that. And that's how actually the doctor started respecting me a little bit more because I said, you know, I want this. I want exactly this, what she wrote me. And then they said, yeah, but it costs so much. I said, what does it cost? And they were like, yeah, 10 euros, you know, some certain blood tests. And I'm looking at them and I say, are you crazy? I'm paying 10 euros just to, you know, have some answers. And in the end,
Mm-hmm.
I would have an MRI and I just had to wait 2 months for my appointment to just know what's wrong with me and it was getting worse. So I just said, you know, I'm going to pay it private. It's so in my country, so also when people do need it, just to know, it was 250 euros for the brain and it was 250 euro for this neck part. I don't know the English word for it.
Mm-hmm.
In total to pay private and just go and do it. And they immediately saw the MS symptoms. And then we also did a liqueur where you put, you know, the liquid out of the spine. Please correct me when I'm saying
Oh,
things,
wow.
which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the worst experience I've ever had to make. I don't know what it was about it, but it went wrong a little bit. So it was really stressful. And then it was very clear what it is. So they had all their evidence and then they wanted to start treatment and these kind of things. So
Okay. So they found out that you're not crazy at that point. So that's good. So what was the treatment that they started to implement moving forward?
they gave me cortisone. It's in English also, cortisone. So this is the only treatment you can have when you have a seizure. In Germany, it's called Schübe when you have this situation with MS because you can have these problems and then they can go away, but you will always be left with some issues. People can imagine that like a lamp. You have a lamp and you have the cable. So if you destroy this part, this security part of the cable a little bit, the light sometimes works, but sometimes it goes off. And it's the same with the body. Sometimes it works and sometimes it goes off, and you don't know when it's going to happen. So this is a little bit the problem also with the nerves. They're just a little bit cut, and you don't know if it's going to be repaired and be fine in the end, but it can also always be a little bit broken, and then it's this on-off thing. So then this cortisone therapy is the only thing that can help, but it's very aggressive, you know, to the body, and it makes you also gain, or most of the people do gain weight, then are very hungry, started having hormonal disbalance, and just being angry and aggressive. That's what happened to me. All of these kind of things, but it
Mm-hmm.
helped. So I was one of the lucky ones that the therapy worked very fast, and I was being able to go to a rehabilitation center where they teach me how to walk again and so on. And it worked so well for me that I surrounded myself, thankfully, with therapists because they switched at some point and they were really proactive. And they were giving me the feeling, you can do it. You are sick, yes, but you can manage it. And it was so motivating, you know. And she was a pole dancer and he was a fitness trainer then. So I was lucky because before there were different people and they were, you have to lay down. You're not allowed to move. We are going to tell you when you can move your hand or not. So I was just in a lucky position that constantly, I believe in God. So I do believe that God sent me some people along my road to help me with that. And I got better. And then they wanted to put me on medication, on MS medication, but I was feeling so good and so energized because I also cut out sugar at the time. And I said, I'm trying this, you know, and I felt so good. And I thought, why do I need that? Maybe it's not what they think it is. You know, you start doubting them.
Mm-hmm.
But life happens, and at some point, I'm just a human. I'm not a robot. And at some point, you know, stress happens, and I started eating shit again. So it's my fault, of course. But I was just forgetting how I felt, you know, before. So,
Right.
um, and at the time, then I just started eating shit again and it started to having seizures again. So I do see the correlation between food and the seizures actually in a mass. I was just starting being again in the hospital. And they treated me shitty because I didn't choose the path with the medication when they told me to. So they gave me the feeling that I'm in the wrong, it's my own fault, that I'm now sick, and they're not going to help me. And that's why I'm always so scared about making decisions about medication. In the end, I agreed now to a medication. And that was in January. And that was one of the worst mistakes I made because in January, when I started the medication, what they gave me was so aggressive that I had the flu like all the time. I had fever. I had
Ooh,
headaches. I was sick. I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything with my son. I had to take off from my work. It was insane. And at that point, I was lying in bed. I cried my eyes out. It was horrible. It was one of the horriblest moments of my life. And I said, is this going to be my life for the rest of my life to take this meds that make me even sicker than before? Is that the solution? And then some carnivore content showed up on YouTube, and it was a sign from God to try it out.
wow. So the medication that they put you on is almost, it sounds like it was like a poison in your system. It was making you sick.
Yeah, probably. It's the side effects you have with medication. You know, every medication has side effects. Some people do respond differently than others. It's also about, they also diagnosed me with Hashimoto, which is hormonal thing with the thyroid. um,
Right.
During they are searching for different kind of stuff that I'm having in the beginning. So this was one thing that they found along the way, which doesn't have an impact. I'm constantly into, you know, they're checking it. So that's fine. But maybe these kind of also autoimmune diseases that come often as a pair do affect people and their respond to medication. And for me, it was getting very worse. A lot of people do drive on that and they are feeling fine. So I don't say that every medication is bad. I don't think that.
Hmm.
But most of it should be the last resort or
Yep.
the last solution you go to in the end because the side effects were severe and the ones they wanted to put me now on because the ones didn't work which were that awful. I'm left with only one solution for medication from a big list because I have some antibodies which causes most of the medication not to work with me. So they are not allowed to give it to me because I would have died a couple of years ago if some other people wouldn't have died on that, if you understand what I mean, because
Yeah.
they tried this medication before and thankfully people died on that because they would give me this medication without me checking for these antibodies because this antibody was causing the death of these people. So they figured it out after it already happened. And that was like my luck that I didn't take the medication maybe the years before as well.
Wow. Yeah. That's definitely an unfortunate, fortunate set of circumstances for you, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, you know, I've been watching your channel for a while, and I love your content because you're very real and raw, and you share essentially everything in your journey. And that's one of the reasons that made me want to reach out to you because um, the you share your struggles, right? And you're trying to figure this thing out, and so I want to try to go back to when you first found the carnivore content and what went through your head and why you decided to actually do that.
Um, you always make me cry. um, So when I was laying in bed and, you know, being like at my lowest, thinking that this is gonna be the rest of my life, just feeling pain, even from medication that should help me in the end. And this guy popped up. I can't remember his name because he isn't pure carnivore. I think he's a little keto or something. He doesn't never said what he was.
Hmm.
If I remember the name, I'm gonna tell it to you. And his content showed up often before that. And I was always thinking, you know, I like his videos and his style. He's doing it. But the content itself, I always thought, what a stupid man. What the hell are refined oils? What the hell is he talking about? Well, why does he eat everyday meat? That's so stupid. That's the wrong thing to do. Everybody
Right.
told me to go vegan. That's the good thing. You know, I was in this state of mind at the time. And I was like, I was one of these people actually that now comment on my page, you know, this crazy vegans who are annoyed by some content. So I do get that. I can't be mad about that.
Wow.
But at the time, I really was at my lowest, and something about this video at this moment, in this particular moment, just clicked. And I said, you know what? I tried everything. I tried basically everything. What should I do? So why not give it a try? Just what is refined oils? Never heard of that. And then looked into nutrition during the vegan parts and so on. So I wasn't like not educated in this thing, I would say, but not to even know what refined oils is and what it's made of and why it's problematic. I had no idea. So that was like the start for me to understand that I'm really stupid when it comes to nutrition and that I have no idea what I'm doing. And I started just watching some content around that, and something about carnivore then popped up. And I don't know what it was. I think it was Courtney Luna who was the first one. And something about Courtney is also, I don't know if you know her also personally. For me, she is one of the people that I can relate the most because she struggles a lot also with her emotional eating. And it's not only about eat meat or health, it's a
Hmm.
lot around habits and what you implemented your whole life. You cannot get rid of that, in just a couple of months or years even. So it comes with a lot of struggles. And I just felt, a little bit, she felt reliable to me, so relatable. And I decided for myself, I'm going to make myself accountable to do that. And I know I don't have a support system besides my mom and my son, who maybe join to support such kind of lifestyle to try meat. They're afraid of meat. And then I said, I'm going to just start a YouTube channel, not to do YouTube because I hate social media. That's what most people find a little bit funny because I was a photographer before I went to IT. But I really don't enjoy, these
Right.
all, bashing and that I know too much content. And I get anxieties and overwhelmed with too much information. So but for me, it was about sharing every day because that's what I missed. I saw these influencers on Carnivore and just being done. They started their journey, never shared before, and then they started sharing when they were already perfect. When they already looked great, lost weight, healed something. And that's
Right.
what I thought. I want to have something from the beginning where you really see how shitty it goes until it goes maybe good. That's why I was hoping that at some point it will go good. So that's why
Right.
I decided to share it in the first place and just consumed a lot of just carnivore content and try to figure out how to handle this thing. And carnivore was tough for me because I have histamine issues. So at some point also the meat started making me problems and everything goes like this. But I found my ways and my little tweaks, and I love the journey because it comes with so much benefits surrounding it in the end.
Yeah, I love that. So, did you say you were a photographer?
Yeah, before I was working in the
Okay.
fashion industry.
Okay. Yeah, I was a sports photographer before I started all this stuff too. So
You
if
have been
that's
what?
it.
Your audio was a little bit broken. I'm
I
sorry.
I was a sports photographer before
Ah,
I started all this stuff and the YouTube channel and everything. But I wasn't man enough to start my journey or show it on YouTube like you did.
I didn't. My
Yeah.
photography share did not also on purpose. I did it on Instagram at the time. But
Right.
one thing that I do, and people should know that Ivy Wolf is an artist name because I learned something from my photography part. I always use an artist name so that people from my work life don't find my kind of contents, which especially when I did photography, I did fashion in a artistic
Hmm.
way, where also people or women, showed a little bit more skin, and some people feel a certain way around it. And I have a serious job, I would say, in IT.
Right.
So I do have to find ways to social media and my real life to interact, especially me having a kid. I don't want, everybody know my whole background and can Google me and know my geotags where I'm located because at some
Right.
point I'm stupid and share pictures where you see where I'm living.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's some crazy people out there for sure.
yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so you started the carnivore diet. What did you notice right off the bat?
It was, I think, and the cool part is I can re-see it because I documented it every day when
Right.
it was when it started. I think it was day 2 or 3. I think I was in ketosis at the point because that's what a friend noticed. I was crazy full of energy. And that was the moment where I realized something about this shit is good. I was working. And I was getting motivated by that, and that helped me a little bit to start, I think, in the first place. Because when your first days really sucked, all of them, I think it's more difficult. So most of the people do experience the keto flu. I did have it, but I think not in that severe direction that most people have it, like explosive diarrhea. I didn't have that. I did have constipations, which is also in carnivore a little bit of a debate what this means, but
Right.
I, I headaches and these kind of things. But all my symptoms the first 2 or 3 weeks also came from the MS meds. So it's hard to say what caused it in the first place, because after,
Mhm.
I think it was week 3 where I decided to stop using the meds. And in this part of journey, I felt after 5 days so much better after I stopped using the mats in the first place. And my neurologic doctor for brain nurse,
Right.
um, she went crazy because I refused to take the hardcore mats, and I said I found some other things that might help, and I want to try it. Can we just see in 6 months, see my MRI and see how it goes, and maybe it helps? And she got crazy. She got crazy, and I posted also a video where I was like completely devastated because she didn't support me. And I
Oh,
told you about the story before, how they treated me because I didn't take the treatment in the first place, and they let me down when I really needed help. And that's what I'm scared all the time, that this will happen again. And then I'm there and she hates me now. And she was really my support system. And I don't trust her, what she's recommending to me to take the meds. I'm trying my own way. And she feels offended by that. I do get it. I do get it. When you're a doctor and a lot of people come and they say they can't handle it, they have new solutions, and then they come back a month later feeling worse. I do get
mhm.
that it's frustrating for doctors as well, of course. But in the
Right.
end, I wish she would be a little bit more open to this opportunity, I would say.
Right. So, how long ago was that when you confronted her about the change in your diet?
Hmm, was it day 50? No, I'm day 121. Like again, we can check my videos, but I think it was something around day 50. Not sure about it. Week 3, around about that. It was when I cut the first one, and she wanted to immediately, suggest me to go the worst mats, who are more aggressive. But that was she didn't even understand, and she's like one of the good people. She's not one of the toxic doctors we're all talking about. She was really one of the good ones who helped me along the road. But
Okay.
after I was saying that, I'm scared, I I looked it up. I looked the studies up from this medication you want to give me, and this is my last chance that you are saying right now. And the side effects is breast cancer and tumors. And I saw some forums where people, explained how they're doing on that. And a lot of people say, I'm doing fine, great, etc. But some people also said, every day I have like the flu again, and every day I have headaches. And one posted, I have now breast cancer. And the other
Oh,
one posted, I have a tumor right now. And that was the moment, just reading that experiences and journeys, that really devastated me. And then some of my followers suggested to write Dr. Chafee, just to write him on Instagram, and I didn't expect him to respond. I'm not sure if it's his team or it is him. I'm going to Spain, and I will get to know him in October to this. What is
nice.
I can't remember. They are so
Right.
bad names. I'm sorry, but I hope we will have a chat then. And he recommended, different kind of treatments, just to go higher in vitamin D, to take B12 shots, and to go basically beef salt water. So for me, the beef salt water thing is very difficult because I'm really struggling with only eating these kind of certain food, because food for me is a mental thing, it's
Right.
comfort since I'm little, and all the stuff that most people experience in their childhood. It's a reward. It's always a reward. My mom is a
Right.
teacher. She is rewarding her children often with sugar until I'm carnivore. Now I stopped this madness.
Right.
But my son also in school receives chocolate when they're doing something good. So we are teaching kids from the beginning that chocolate and sugar, that's a good thing. It's going to make you happy. And you're doing something great. Let's give you more of that.
Right.
Let's support Nestle.
Yeah. That's terrible. It's
um,
terrible that we do that. But if somebody eats a proper human diet for a long time, and they occasionally have chocolate, it's not probably not going to cause an issue if they're healthy, right? But most people are just they're just not healthy, and throwing that chocolate in there just adds fuel to the fire, right?
yeah. Especially people cannot moderate. That's a lot what carnivores also discuss, or most people experience that they cannot moderate and just eat a little bit. They eat the binge eat. That's what I am, unfortunately. I'm like the biggest binge eater ever. I'm horrible. I don't, I, you
So
know,
you couldn't just have just one square of chocolate, right? You had to have the whole bar.
no, like 10 bars then.
Oh,
When I go crazy, I go crazy. Because my mental state is just that's sick. I know how sick it is, but for me, and I noticed it with a lot of people talking to them. It's funny. It's about I eat until I'm full and I got it out of my head. So I need to eat a big amount of this chocolate. One bar is not enough. I need 10, 10 bars. That will be
right.
enough.
And
And
that was dinner.
yeah, and yeah. And after, I won't touch it anymore because now I'm strong. I put it out of my sister, and a couple of
Right.
days later, we start over with this stupid, idiotic thing. So
Wow.
that is for me still hard, and I don't think that in 1 year I'm gonna figure this out to just eat beef, salt, and water. Even me knowing that would be the best thing to fast more, eat beef, salt, water. From a logical perspective, it makes the most sense. We don't have to listen to doctors, nutritionists. We just have to use our brains, and it does make sense in the end that to eat like that, your body will have time to eat to heal proper. If you're constantly eating bullshit, your body and your gut is just working on all places where you're stupid. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it I did the lion diet for a while, and it did seem to help me, but the major problem that I ended up having that I thought was a histamine issue, I did have some issues with histamine. So cutting out the high histamine foods definitely helped me, but it ended up being salt, which is the weirdest thing. So once I stopped consuming salt, my nausea went away, my leg cramps went away, my mood improved. Like it was crazy. Like because on a carnivore diet they always say meat, salt, water. Well, I was having salt and I didn't think it was an issue, but man, it really caused problems for me.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I heard it. I
Yeah.
think from Bella from Second Butter Gal. She also mentioned something about cutting salt out. So I didn't know that this was a thing. But it does make
Yeah.
sense in from nature part. If you're just stranded somewhere and what would you do? What would you do? I wouldn't eat berries because I never would be sure if this is really a raspberry or it's something dangerous. I'm not educated, and even if I saw a picture, I wouldn't be sure to risk my life. So what would you do? You will hunt for something, kill it, and eat it, and maybe make a fire and just eat it. You don't have salt and these kind of things with you, so it
Right.
doesn't make sense, that to eat just meat or.
Yeah, for sure. I never would have guessed that. I was at the point because I had nausea for over a year, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? I've had so many benefits, and that was the last thing that I had to try. Essentially, aside from if it was a histamine issue, I was thinking maybe stop the beef and then just go lamb, right? Even though I don't like lamb that much, but it's lower in histamine than beef is, so I'm glad I didn't have to go that route because I really don't like lamb.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. So, okay. So, where are you at now in your journey? What have you figured out that maybe things that you can't do or things that you can do? Maybe some tips that other people with MS would enjoy.
So for me, I started with Dr. Chafee's advice with the vitamin D because that's a supplement I can take. But I didn't do much, so didn't make the big difference. What did make a difference then in the end, it was vitamin D brought from the sun. So because I work in IT, I'm constantly 10 hours inside and I go outside when the sun is down, actually. So, and I wasn't really the outsy person, but
Hmm.
that was the issue. I was really paling in my little corner, like, from the nerds that are sitting in the garage and programming. That was me. So that was a little bit tough because I never had sunlight. So just really this part what carnivores always preach, go in the sun, take the sun. I started doing that, and I do feel a big difference in a lot of things. So the vitamin D part really being in the sun is amazing. But Austria has now this flooding weather situation, which is very bad. Also, I think in American news, we're also
Oh, no.
showing what is here. But since almost 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a little bit more, it's constantly raining. So there was no sun at all. And I felt immediate now, again, a little bit pain and these kind of things. So I need to supplement a little bit more again with the vitamin D. So this is, I think that has a big impact also from a logical perspective, because we used to be humans outside, not inside. And now we are constantly inside. So it does make sense that it makes something bad with your body in the end. The
Wow.
other thing, yeah. The other thing was the B12, what Dr. Schaefer recommended, which surprised me because I thought I'm eating B12. I'm eating meat. I thought that is B12. That is what I was lacking when I was vegan, and I had to supplement it with some pills. So that was what the vegans told me to do, because you will need that. So take these little pills, and it's magically gonna be great. And then Dr. Chaffee also explains why we are all deficient in B12. And at some point, it did make sense because I was vegan before. So actually, my B12, I've never checked it. So it would be logical that it's maybe very low, and that I, even now being into carnivore 123 days, that I'm still, my level is not there yet because it was maybe very low at the point.
Hmm.
So they explained also to me that if you just take this pill, it just doesn't do anything. You have to have the shots or the infusion or something under your tongue. That's what I don't know what it is about. So I do have the infusions. And I did notice, because I started having a MS episode seizure. Again, my legs were making really trouble. My hands, I was really devastated. I was doing so good on carnivore, and everything started over. And I started being scared that I still did the wrong choice, that I have to go for the meds, that I have to go now to the hospital and just get some cortisone, because when we wait for the treatment, it can get worse. So you can have stuff left over. So my legs maybe could just lose their abilities completely if I don't get on time on the hospital. So I was scared.
Hmm.
And something just in my gut said, try it out for a couple of days with the B12 shot and just then decide what to do. Just give it a try for 2 days. And I did, thankfully, because my other doctor was very open to it. And she said, yeah, what do you need? Yeah, okay, let's do it. I told her about Dr. Chafee, and she was my family doctor, so not the neurologist. So
Neurologist.
yeah, she
Okay.
she she's actually cool and just tells me, what do you need? You gonna pay for it? Yes, okay. That's my. So I paid for it in private, and it's about, in my country, it's 11 euros maybe per shot, so it's not that big of a deal. And she gave it to me, and I felt immediate better, and suddenly my symptoms started to disappear. And that's when it clicked in my head, because
Wow.
there must be something else, because usually I would go to the hospital and take the stupid meds that will then also help me, but they don't look into other things, if you're having some deficiency in some maybe vitamins that is causing that. And that was shocked me a little bit, that they never mentioned the B12 to me. Never. They never checked it. That was never a thing. And looking at just what B12 um, is making when you have too little, what is happening in your body, it's actually very similar to the MS symptoms. And that's why I was so shocked that nobody did consider that. So yeah, I think the B12 also did a lot the last couple of days. And yeah, and the finding out what meat you can eat, because you also talked about the histamine part.
Hmm.
Um, it's not only about, is it aged meat or not, is it lamb or these kind of things. For me, it was also the brand. I went to 4 different butchers. I had maybe 20 different kind of brands for ground beef, and none of them I could eat. I had major issues with all of the ground beef, and I love ground beef. So I was screwed. That was the only thing that I really enjoyed eating. So at some point, after many tries, I found one ground beef that worked, but it's 50% pork and 50% beef. And I don't know why. It's the only thing I can eat right now. It's just my
Hmm.
body, for some reasons, is craving just this kind of meat with some sheep cheese and mineral water. I cannot, for the love of God, I cannot drink normal water. I don't know why. Since I'm carnivore, I'm only drinking sparkling water. I don't know why. It's just strange. Maybe you can explain it. Maybe you heard something, but
Yeah, that's a weird one with me too. So my favorite water is Fiji water, and come to find out, it's high in silica or something like that, and I guess that's a binder for toxins. So I don't know, maybe my body's like naturally gravitating to that too. I don't know why. It's weird,
yeah, it's very interesting.
right? But it's a mineral water too.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. Right, right. So ground beef, I think, is naturally higher in histamine than like the larger cuts of meat, right?
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't realize is I had also a video uploaded where I couldn't breathe. Suddenly I couldn't breathe anymore, and it was the same butcher and the same meat, and I was thinking maybe the carnivore is causing me problems, and I got in a panic mode because that's what you do. You know, what did you change in your life? You were eating meat, the vegans and
Hmm.
the other people telling you meat is going to cause you heart problems and everything bad. And of course you got them or let them get in your head when something goes wrong and you feel bad or your heart just has problems. And I got
Hmm.
into this panic mode. Oh my god, what should I do? And I wanted to go to the hospital because it's just my breathing stopped. And then something just again, you know, the carnivore community is amazing, and I'm lucky that I'm sharing my journey because so many smart people are just being smart in my comments. And then
I love
something,
that.
and they somebody shared, you know, look up Rebecca. Ho- Her last name starts with an H. I'm really bad.
Heichman,
Yeah.
Rebecca Heichman. Yep.
Iceland. Yeah, yeah, thank you. And she has a lot of histamine videos. And in one video, she said when you when you put the ground beef in the machine, when you do it more than once, it can cause even more histamine in it. And that's what I did with this ground beef. That was the first time that I asked them to do it 3 times because then it's really tiny and I wanted to try it. And
Hmm.
that made sense because in the next day when I didn't eat that, I was fine. And I was starting to be panicked. Oh my God, carnivore is so bad. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I learned from her then, thankfully. So
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for so many people sharing their journeys because along the road they're having troubles and then they're finding solutions for it and thankfully share it. Thanks we have YouTube. Just imagine you don't have YouTube to consume, you know, people's journeys and advice. We will be just talking to doctors who will just tell me, what did you change? I changed. I eat meat. Oh, how can you? You know, stop it. It's gonna hurt you. It's a logical movement, so you can't be mad about it in the end because yeah. But that's why I think when you start the carnivore journey, you really need to have a reason for the why, and if you don't have that, you will not survive because you really need to be committed to dive into these problems and find solutions and not just say I'm not going to do it anymore because oh my god I'm having some troubles or I'm having diarrhea or I'm having some problems with my eyes with my skin or something. So along
Mhm.
the road I found out the dairy part is causing me most of the issues. If I have that, then the fat and protein ratio, if you have too much protein, my kidneys started having problems because most of the people don't know if you have too much protein or use protein pulver, you need to have the same amount of water and more just to prevent your kidneys to fail. That's what most people do also wrong when they consume too much protein. Or the fat part, until you adapt to the fat part, you will have diarrhea and it's gonna be shitty. So, um, and you really need to be to want to have this journey and enjoy it even if it's got bumpy, and to know in something in your head, just to know it's gonna benefit you, but you need to figure this out and you need to be patient. And I think if you can manage to that and have the big why, then it's gonna be good.
I love that. That's some great information. So you mentioned that sort of eating for you is sort of a social thing, a mental thing. Is there anything that you have done or found out that works for you that helps in that regard to help you kind of pare things down even more with your diet?
Yes, as a lot of things actually, but I'm still on a journey. But for me, the mental part, so the people or emotional part, will people will also understand. When I was little, my dad was always having cookies in his car. I don't know why. He still does it. He always have a big bag of chocolate chip cookies and these kind of things. So every time we spent time together, because he was working a lot, it was about eating cookies together. It was our thing, you know? And also Christmas, he wrote me little letters from the Santa Claus, and he was always giving me some cookies. So that's why also now as an adult, cookies are triggering me. Even the word, I want to eat now cookies. So to figure this thing out where this comes from, I was lucky that I ended up with a hypnotherapist. She's actually a family doctor but specialized on hypnotherapy, and that really helped me because I was very sensitive to it. So she put me in this hypno state, and what most people think is that she hypnoses you and then you stop eating cookies, but that's not what happened. She put you in a state of, you go into your help me, consciousness.
Yep.
Yeah. and and then you see really pictures. I saw really suddenly pictures from my childhood and what was causing certain issues, and then I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, that's what we're doing here. And that helped me. Just if you understand why you're doing something, it can help you to navigate through this. So I realized, and especially in emotional eating, I tend to then sit down and watch something just to keep my mind occupied. And that's the worst thing to do. I have to do the exact opposite. I have to stand up, go outside, change the venue, and do something that I hate to do, like running, or I can't even run. So something that really is tough for me on my body, or just have some weights, or just do something that is really something that I don't enjoy. And that will keep me out of this state of, just craving, going crazy. So that one really helped. So the hypnotherapy, sport actually in general, and stuff about CrossFit, calisthenics, what you can do with your own body. For me, this is the most important thing, because when I have to do sport where I have to have a certain time to go there, or I have to pay a month in advance, and then I have to go to the gym, and then I have to drive there and be there, and it cost me 3 hours to get even to there, I lose motivations. But with kind of little, just your own weight, doing a little bit of exercise every day, it helps me just to keep a little bit more, to get myself a little bit under control. And eating the meat and the fat part and find out what the ratio for you is. For me, that helped a lot, because when I'm stressed at work and I need to work on a computer, butter actually makes me perfectly working. I'm amazing. I just eat a little bit of butter and I'm like a robot. My brain is like on high drive and I don't need anything to eat. I'm doing amazing. But when I do sport, I cannot go with fat. I need protein. My body really craves protein. And when I eat some big bowl of ground beef before, I'm like, I'm Hulk. I can do this. So just finding, I think, also the right food for you for certain situations, and what can help you navigate through it can help. But it's tricky. Also, in the carnivore world, you can overeat. Courtney Luna is the best example. She overeats on the pork rinds with milk, some whipped cream, and some cinnamon. And when I
Oh my
tried,
goodness.
it
That sounds
was,
great.
yeah, it's too good. I was overeating it. I was binge eating then on that. It's better than the chocolate bars, but it's still not doing my body any favor. So, yeah, it's a little bit tough to find some solutions to do so.
Okay, that's awesome. So it's interesting that you said that you crave protein when you're working out, and when you're not, it's more fat. So that's a good tip for somebody to sort of pay attention to with their own body.
So the fat part is something that for most women is recommended by most of the carnivore influencers because of the hormones. So it's, yeah, eats the stick of butter, so steak and butter gabella, and the doctors surrounding that topic is really around the butter part. But butter can also cause a lot of these problems with the stomach for most of the people. Sometimes it's the fat tolerance that they then have diarrhea or something. But sometimes it's also that you just can't eat butter, because butter maybe cause you some lactose or whatever it is in the end, what's happening in your body. So For me, when I eat, it's really the amount. If I eat the perfect amount, I'm working amazing. As soon as I eat a little bit too much, I start having problems just with my stomach and don't feel well. So it's just a little bit of the ratio and to find that out. And that's something I didn't understand in the beginning. Everybody, especially Kelly Hogan, was talking about this ratio thing, and I was like, what the hell is a ratio? Why do people need to study that? Is it just eating meat and that's it? Why is this so complicated? And especially also over consuming this carnivore content, it made me crazy. It was like, can they agree on something? They make me crazy. One carnivore say eat butter, the other one say don't eat butter, it's the worst thing.
Right?
Eat just beef, don't eat anything else, chicken is bad for you. I was like, oh my
Yeah, it can get
god.
confusing. It can definitely get confusing for sure. That's why I try not to, recommend what to eat. Like this is just the list of things that seem to be good for most people. Do what's best for you. Whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's what I see. Same thing. One thing that I realized there was it's and like an experiment. I don't know how to say it. It's about the red ants and the black ants. If you put it into the jar, they don't do anything to each other. But if you shake it, they're gonna start fighting. And that's how I felt into my whole journey. It was we carnivores are the red ants and the vegans are the black ants, and we don't fight. We shouldn't fight. Everybody should have their journey. Where is the problem? Especially carnivores fighting carnivores and their journeys. Also, that's what most triggers me are haters from the carnivore world through my journey on my page. So what the hell is wrong with you guys? We are a community. We want to try to change the world. We're not going to try to change the world if we fight each other. So that's the jar thing. The question is, who is shaking this damn jar so that we are fighting? And it's the food industry. So why not combine our powers, even the vegans, even the carnivores, and fight these stupid shit what they're putting in our food and how they manipulate us? I just saw today a children's bar which has big on it. It's without sugar, like this big letters. It's healthy. It's with dates and nuts. And I was like, okay, just turn it around and then you see there is sugar in it, but it's a different name. And nobody would know that because it's so hidden. It's just so different to see that. Even as somebody that's educated, I needed to Google it. And then it shows up, oh yeah, that's another name for sugar. So great. Who should know that? You can't even study
Right.
that because they're coming up with new ideas to just fake this shit. And so why not fight that, and then instead of each other in the end? I know that sounds a little bit. Whoa.
That I absolutely love that analogy. I feel like only somebody in IT could come up with something so brilliant.
Well, it comes
Yeah,
not from AI.
yeah. Who's shaking the jar? The food industry. That's perfect. Yeah, we got to do something to fight back, and that's why we're trying to do our part with you sharing your journey, and I'm more sharing other people's journeys. And I couldn't do what you did, so I'm glad that there's folks out there like you that are sharing and being real and raw with everybody for sure. Um, so let's say there's someone that's watching this and they have MS. What sort of tips or advice or guidance would you have for that person if they are on a standard diet or a vegan diet, vegetarian diet?
I think now from the perspective of the B12, I think they should educate themselves about this B12 thing because I'm still also educating myself around it, why and what, and to make a check, and just to get their blood work done because the blood work, it's always, with the LDL and these kind of things, it's always about what is right, what is wrong, where is the average or not. But just to have some kind of things checked out and see if you are deficient in something and that may cause you the problems. For me, it's also iron, for example, because I'm a woman, yes, but the worst thing what happened is since I'm carnivore, my iron should go up because I'm eating red meat, but my iron went down. And the question is why? And that's what my doctors also try to figure out. Why did my iron go down when I'm eating everyday red meat? It's just impossible. So something in my body is just causing kind of a problem that I cannot absorb it. And that also might cause also all these MS symptoms. So it's just looking into other stuff as well and not just focus on the MS part. And one thing that really changed my personal life when I started the MS journey is, in the beginning, it wasn't even being sick. It was the people I was surrounded by. And it was people I love. And they were pity me. And they were so sad. And I was constantly looking into my mom's face crying, or my dad being concerned and giving me 1,000 tips and sending me 1 million links and wanted to help, and just overwhelming me with more information. So it's more about address the people surrounding you to chill a little bit. That they should be a little bit more, let me just figure this thing also out, and don't give me too much advice because it's overwhelming me. And if some people are too toxic, or maybe, treat you like you can't do anything and just putting you down because you're sick, then this is the wrong crowd for you. And that's what I realized when I changed my crowd and had some people who are, like I told before, motivating, like this, the trainers I had then. They changed the whole situation and my mindset. And that's the most important part about MS healing, is the mindset, that you just want to, be motivated and inspired. If you have that, you will heal no matter what you do. You will, pretty sure you will heal if your mindset is in a good position and you have the right surrounding.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, mindset is definitely huge in all walks of life for sure. So that's definitely one thing that's helped me absolutely 100%. So you're on the carnivore diet now. Is this something that you see yourself doing long term? Let's say, for instance, 6 months from now, your MS is gone and you feel like you're 1,000% better. You're perfectly healthy. Are you continuing the carnivore diet, or what are you doing at that point?
For me, that's why I'm always irritated that it's called carnivore diet, because a diet
Right,
for me personally is something that's short life timed. You
right,
just avoid something. Um, that's carnivore is a lifestyle for me. It's a part of life, and if you wanted to have it, you should just find your tweaks that makes it more desirable and enjoyable. And for me, it is sometimes having my sheep cheeses, and having this animal based variation without focusing on, oh my god, am I now not a carnivore because I ate something wrong, and getting in shock, and oh, people gonna hate me for that, especially me doing YouTube videos and then sharing that I ate, I went crazy someday with protein cookies. And
right.
that's but it makes me crave meat even more after. When I have these strange days where I just have a day where I just eat yogurt because I can't see meat, for the love of God, I just can't see it, and I eat one day just yogurt and eggs, then
Right.
it makes me really crave meat the next day. And that's I think what everybody should also understand, just to be a little bit more gentle with your mind, that you are not doing something bad just because one day you failed or you're implementing some chocolate every day. You're not failing. You're still doing better than most of the people on the planet when you're doing something on the right part. And if you make yourself feel miserable because you cheated or you ate something that's not carnivore related, you just will feel bad. And if you feel bad, your body is into stress, and stress makes you sick. So why? Just be happy. Just enjoy your damn protein cookie or your chocolate bar, your banana, and just look forward for your next meal dish in the end. And at some point, I think that everything will click if you just keep it a little bit more gentle and easygoing without stressing out too much about food.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. So, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that maybe we haven't yet?
Oh, I think we covered a lot. I'm
Okay.
babbling.
Well, I love it. So, this has been absolutely incredible. Getting to hear from you firsthand about these things, and not just watching you on your channel. And really enjoyed this time together. And hopefully, those that are watching, they've gained a lot from Ivy. And I definitely suggest going to subscribe to her channel. So, for those that don't know what your channel is, can you kind of tell us a little bit about that and where they can find you?
It's on YouTube. I'm a Wulf, Carnivore. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to post every day. And I'm really being raw about it. So sometimes nothing special happens. That's also life. Sometimes everything goes to shit and I'm being emotional. But I try really to be raw about the whole situation, because I think the whole nutritional journey is a big picture. And it's not only about what you're eating, what are tips. But for me personally, my journey contains everything. Also mentally, if I'm in stress, did it maybe cause this thing going up and down? And also people telling me you have the best reason to go full beef, salt, and water. How stupid are you not to do that? And I say, of course I have the best reason. I'm a single mom and I suffered being in a wheelchair. Of course I have the best reasons, but I'm not mentally there. So keep it cool, chill.
Right.
We're gonna make this together. We're gonna get there. And if I can
Right.
make it after, a year, 2, 3, people will make it on the whole planet because I'm really suck at this. But yeah, that's what I want to achieve with my journey, just to be open and share these kind of things.
I love that. So hopefully we can connect again, maybe in 6 months or something like that, with an update and see how things are going with you. And I'll definitely make sure that I link your YouTube channel, your Instagram in the comment section below, or not the comments, the description section below. And if anybody watching this has gained value from this, and Ivy has struck a chord with you, and maybe you should change something in your diet, leave us a comment in the comment section below, and let us know what you're going through, how you feel, if you like the video or not. And I definitely appreciate you for spending this time with me, Ivy, and I look forward to potentially doing this again with you.
Thank you. Same. I'm really happy. Thanks. It was a beautiful first time. You did a great job.
Awesome. Thanks. You too. Bye for now.
Bye for now.